Hey, good morning.
Oh, we're having so much fun figuring new things out and learning, and I love having you being a part of this morning.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. Good morning, all.
For those who may not know who we are, I'm Lisa Dutkiewicz. This is my husband, Joe.
Hello.
And
Say hi. Say hi. Type in where you're from. Oh, yeah. What's in your cup?
What's in your cup? I have, what do I have? French vanilla coffee with a caramel creamer and cinnamon.
And you might have to turn it
just a wee bit.
See, Starbucks.
Strategically planned that, of course, because today I am giving away Starbucks gift card. So all you have to do is be here, be sharing, comment. You can take your pick of
the highest wins. So keep it going.
So we'll have some fun this morning. I want to start a little bit with sharing a story about Joe and I when we first met, and then we're going to get into this coffee mindset. And I have to tell you, I was really impressed, Joe, when I saw what you've done this week.
Okay. Uh-oh. You mean my drawings or this program?
This program. This is, he went above and beyond this week. It is amazing what he did. The drawings. This is too funny. So my office is in the other room, okay? And I'm working along. I come out, what was it? Like Tuesday, maybe you started this? Yeah. And
hey, Steve, welcome.
Good morning. We start, I'm working, right? I come out of my office and here he's got this sketch up there. And each day a different sketch has appeared. So yeah. All the things that you've done.
Tell the good story.
Tell the good story. This is the good
Steve
story.
Wants the good story.
I'll bet he does.
Yeah, let's go.
How do you see comments and I don't?
I don't know.
Will you fix my phone?
Okay, I'll fix
my
your
techie
phone.
guy. I see lots of you guys here today. Say good morning so we know who you are, because if we don't know who you are, you can't win this. We want to be able to give this away. Yeah, absolutely. So years ago, I had joined a group called Toastmasters. It's a group to help you improve with your public speaking and leadership skills. And people saw what I was doing in the club and they said, oh, you would be really great to be an area director. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds really great. But I didn't have all the prerequisites it took to do that. And so when the leadership heard that they were recommending me, then they said, hey, Joe, I don't know who this chick is. That's how she talks, you know. But she's like, I don't know who this chick is. Mm-hmm. And she's kind of in your area. Would you be willing to go check her out? So Joe comes down and he checks me out. And we start getting to know one another. And I'll come to find out, we both wanted to attend National Speakers Association meeting down in Milwaukee. And I thought, well, isn't that stupid? If we're going to drive all the way, he was up in De Pere and, you know, I was coming down from the Appleton area and it's a couple-hour drive, right? And it's like, how dumb is that? Two people from the same general area having to go 2 hours and then 2 hours back all by themselves. And it's like, so I said, well, you want to ride together? And Joe's like, yeah, sure. That sounds like a good idea. So I go to work that day and I'm sitting there. I was like, all day long. I was working in medical records at the time. And all day long, I'm trying to file these records. And I'm thinking, what on earth am I going to talk to this dude about? I don't know what to say. In a car alone with a strange man.
Really?
For 4 hours, we're going to be together. So I compile this list of questions in my head and well, we're going to see how this goes. And so I made sure I asked him questions the whole way down.
Without coffee.
Without coffee. We didn't have time for coffee.
Yeah, we didn't really. Yeah.
You know,
by the way, good morning, Lisa from De Pere.
Oh, Lisa. Yes, Lisa's an awesome lady. It's Steve's a great guy. I don't know who else is here. There's lots of you who are being shy, but that's okay. Um,
Yeah.
so we get down to Milwaukee, and by this time, I'm already exhausted before the meeting even starts. And I don't know how it came about, but you actually came around the car to open the door for me, like a gentleman. You know, it's like
not,
a gentleman,
not being a gentleman. No, like a gentleman.
like
All
a
right.
gentleman.
Anyways, going on.
So when he opens the door for me, he tells me that he is going to have questions for me on the way back.
Yes.
And I thought, oh my Lanta.
Atlanta. Wow, that's a new one.
Have you not heard that before? It's been a
No,
long time.
I did not hear it in relation to the story. Though.
Okay. So I'm thinking, I'm exhausted already. I have to get through this meeting, and now I'm going to have to be alert enough to answer this strange man's questions all the way home.
Yeah.
Not that you were actually coming off to be a strange man, but
yes, right.
You know, this bare acquaintance.
Yes, I was like a gentleman. Yeah.
Golly, my.
Anyways.
And so I said, well, if we're going to do that, then we have to stop at Starbucks because there's no way.
Starbucks? Really? You like Starbucks? Just about the same voice cracking too.
So that's how it all started.
Yeah, and we found out that, you know, what our favorite coffees at Starbucks were, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I just love a venti latte.
Plain old venti latte. How boring.
Except I think, I don't remember it was just a latte or whether it was one of the holiday drinks because it was around that time. So.
Was it?
Yes.
I don't even remember what time it was because I was tired and too worried about talking to a strange man.
Yeah.
So feel free to drop your favorite drinks in there. I'm curious to know what your favorite drinks are too.
What are you drinking this morning? Yeah.
Well, not just what they're
drinking.
Well, and then
what's your favorite? What was your favorite? What was your favorite back then?
Anytime now. What's your favorite time now?
No, but I'm saying yours.
Oh, back then?
Golly, it had to be sweet. Whatever it was exceptionally sweet.
Yeah, he says exceptionally sweet. And even now, my go-to drink is a cinnamon dolce latte.
By the way, I like the way this thing, if I get the light just right.
You're not distracted at all. You might need to drink some more of that.
Yes.
Get focused, huh?
All right.
So, if it's hot out right now, they brought out the s'mores frap back. I love the s'mores frap. Joe hates the s'mores frap.
Yes.
But it's not really coffee flavor, and I think that was kind of my thing, you know, because I grew up coffee. My sisters detest the smell of coffee. I could walk past Gloria Jean's in the mall and just like, so good.
Lisa says caramel frap.
Oh, good choice.
Caramel
You're my
frap.
girl. Yes.
Cold's okay. Cold's okay too. You know, I have some difference on iced coffee. I don't see what the purpose of that is, but that's for another day.
So,
anyways,
you brought up the concept of this coffee mindset, and I thought, you know, what we were thinking when we first met. You know, I think that's, you said it's the coffee mindset, and it's not what you think. So I thought, okay, what does he think I'm gonna think? And I think what you were thinking I was gonna think, or what anyone else is gonna think. Okay, so let's see if I get this right.
Okay.
I think what you were thinking I was going to think is coffee is something that just keeps us awake. And did I come even close to what
that's what I would have thought you had thought.
Okay.
But
so for me,
I think that I think you have a different thought, I know, in the back of your mind. And most people do when you're doing it more socially. When you're sitting around a table, wherever, at a cafe, around the dinner table, wherever, and you have a good cup of coffee.
Or any drink.
Any drink, but the coffee brings it out more. As I was looking back on this thought of, well, what's coffee played in our world? And geez, it's back to the 1650s, I believe. There was a ad in London's first cafe for coffee.
1650.
1650, but it was way before that. Coffee has been with us for a long, long time, and it's actually, if you track it, we go with your contact tracing. Coffee has been used as a purpose for sitting and chatting with people to talk. And I have some things that I want to share with you, but look at it from this way. What is it right now? If you have coffee near you, or whatever you're drinking this morning, or maybe you've already had your cup for the day.
What?
Yeah.
I've done it already.
Take one sip. Just take one sip. And what happens? What happens immediately? Do you feel the time to stop because you're anticipating what you're going to get out of the cup?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's so when I was thinking about this, I thought, coffee, what does it really mean in my mind? And I thought, it makes me feel good, and it doesn't have to be coffee.
No.
Okay. But that hot drink, or that drink in the morning, especially, but it could be anytime. It makes me feel good because I'm stopping and taking a moment. And oftentimes it just reminds me that I'm with friends.
Yes.
I'm with somebody else that matters, whether that's, the technical term of family. I view family as friends too, but it could be family, it could be friends, it could be termed as coworkers. I'm just friends with everybody.
It could be just sitting with people that you want to hear from. So maybe there were some, before we got locked down, there were many events where you would just go. I remember in graduate school, they had once a month a morning breakfast luncheon or a morning breakfast conversation. It was just really coffee, and maybe there was some pastries, but it was talking about a particular topic. An expert came in, and it was a discussion. It was really just trying to open up to a greater understanding of a particular topic, get some questions answered, but probe it, see if there is a way forward. The expert had a topic, but not necessarily what would work for everybody in the room.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So let's just go through a couple of these slides here. We'll, yeah, I need to, get out of this. If I can get over here. Hang on. Okay. Flip this over. And through the magic of sharing. Oh, please start again. Okay, just share this. Oh, what?
Your screen is changing, though. Look at that.
But the background is
changing.
See,
I told you guys got a little preview of
the background is changing, but it's not.
How much he put in here.
It's not changing.
Oh,
yeah. Hang on.
Oh, they didn't get to see any of that?
No.
My goodness, you guys.
There we go. Now we got it. So on your screen, you'll be coming up. There's a lag, but maybe these will continue to show.
It's popping up.
All right, good. Awesome. I have to kind of walk into this a little slower because one screen says, how do you always get it faster? Oh, you're way behind. Okay. The lag is.
I'm on.
Oh, now you're on.
You're the one that's.
I'm lagging. Anyways, Napoleon called coffee the intellectual drink, and Roque the king of perfumes. And now Voltaire, he was an author, writer during the time of the Enlightenment. So there's a hint. Coffee must be a slow poison. I've lived 85 years. His doctor said, stop drinking the coffee. You're killing yourself. Unbelievable. So what Voltaire do? Well, he was drinking 40 to 50 cups per day, even though he lived to 83 and was a chocolate coffee mixture. 40 to 50 cups. That's I think a little more than we would normally take. Now, I don't know what size they were or how big or how small. Maybe they were little espresso cups. I don't know. But Beethoven, I was surprised by this. He wanted exactly 60 beans in his cup of coffee.
Can you imagine taking the time to count to
Yeah.
60 every time you
And
wanted
he
a
wouldn't
cup of
trust
coffee?
anybody else to do it. He had to do it himself.
Of course, he was rather meticulous.
So what happened? What's the quick takeaway from both of them? Are deep thinkers. They're both a little. What would you say? A little unique in their perspective of what they wanted in their coffee, what they took.
Very
To get the
particular.
Sir James McIntosh had this, and I think it's a wonderful thought. The powers of a man's mind are directly proportional to the quantity of coffee he drinks or she drinks,
Which I thought when I first
or
saw
yeah,
this
the
slide,
person drinks. Yeah,
my first thought was it's the quantity, not the quality.
yeah,
I mean,
quantity.
because would you rather have more coffee or would you rather have better coffee?
Yeah,
So feel free to tell us. But really, I mean, I would rather have better coffee than the quantity.
well,
What about you?
There's that too.
I understand where he's
Yeah,
going here, but it's just an interesting thought.
yeah. So it's just kind of pointing to that same thought. Uh, More of our leaders of yesteryear, and maybe today, we just don't have as many people stepping forward and admitting to this, but they drank a lot of coffee, and it wasn't just to drink it. It was to pause, to think, to go inward about what things they needed to contemplate. If like Beethoven, he was figuring out what notes came next,
Yeah.
what was in his mind. So he was transporting, going inward to pull out what he needed to bring out on paper. Voltaire needed to go in to pull out what he needed to write on paper, and there's others. So onward we go. Harriet Pratchett.
Lisa says hotel coffee's the worst.
Yes.
You got that right.
Coffee is a way of stealing time, which should by right belong to your older self. And I thought this was a wonderful thing because I was young, but like we just did earlier, a few minutes ago, take that sip. What happens? Time stops. Time stops. And it's like, wow, if I could just capture all that, I'd have a lot more time in the day.
Interesting.
Wouldn't you say so? Do you feel time stops?
It does seemingly so.
Is it just a quick?
When you allow it to.
Okay.
I think there's a part of my mind that has to allow it to stop.
Okay, somehow we went back, but Soren Kierkegaard grabbed
disgusting.
A bag of sugar. Dig this. Poured a bag of sugar into a pyramid in a cup until it crusted above the rim. And so he had this pyramid, and then he would add strong black coffee slowly until it melted the sugar in his cup. I don't know when he stopped, but I think there's a limit to the cup and how much liquid you can get in with all that sugar sitting in there.
I just can't.
It had to be a slurry.
I'm like, I like my sweet coffee, but that is disgusting.
Yeah, but another person that was, really relating on, in particular, with a Christian perspective, very deep thoughts, very deep philosophies that he was bringing forward. So it's a trait. It seems to be a trait.
It's interesting.
Ben Franklin was rumored to have gone to the cafe in Philadelphia, maybe in other towns in New York, before Philadelphia, because that's where most of the work was done.
Mm-hmm.
But sit in the cafes, and he would either go into deep conversation, he would work on some things when he was there, or he would just sit and watch and listen to the conversation being had. In those days, people would go for a broader conversation. It wasn't just like you might go to Starbucks today before the lockdown and sit in a table and you're just talking one-on-one or a couple people. No, this was like the whole room all joining in the conversation.
Well,
side conversation.
Starbucks is a really great example for this because Starbucks has a number of small tables, but they also have a large, long table with
in
lots
most locations.
Yeah. In most locations. So, I mean, there have been times, many times, it doesn't have to be Starbucks. like to frequent our local coffee shops. Sometimes just as much. Starbucks just happens to be one of those convenient because it's across the country kind of things. But plenty of times I would leave home. It could be a day that I just felt lonely or a time that I wanted a change of environment. But there have also been times that I needed to get out. I went and I sat either by myself just to kind of make those observations, but also times where I sat at that big communal table just to see what would happen.
Yes.
And it's interesting because the people that sit at that table don't necessarily want to be ignored.
Right.
Right?
Right.
They invite and welcome the conversation that happens. So it's pretty interesting to see how that all plays a part.
Yeah, and I was, we think about what conversations were happening around Franklin's time. We're talking freedom. We're talking breaking away. We're talking how dare they tax the tea, right?
Yeah.
And so many other things about how this country was going, how this land was going to be ruled, what the topics. I mean, the newspaper, was one element, but
Well,
it took time to get out to everybody.
I,
It was worse than Pony Express, right? It took time to go between the cities to carry the news.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, and even today, how many times have we said, "Hey, let's get together and gather for a meeting"?
Yes.
Where do we go? What do we do?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same kind of deal.
Yeah. So let's go back to. So cafes were a place for conversation. Deep philosophical topics were aired, and one of the key caveats or one of the key takeaways from this environment was there was a spirit of tolerance and a spirit of openness. People disagreed
Mm-hmm.
on approach, but they appreciated each other's point of view. They knew where people stood then.
Yeah.
They knew if they could challenge their own thoughts,
Yeah.
put them out there and then say, okay, tell me something I don't know about how I'm thinking about this or how we're thinking about this. So interesting to note, there's one oil that's just 0.5% of the bean. And if I got this right, it's café. Café. But tea is not defined by a single essence. Tea has a wide variety of compounds and they complement each other. So I found that interesting. Coffee is not coffee without this one oil in the bean, and tea has a different perspective. Tea has a coming together of flavors.
Tea is more of a communal effect.
That's what they say. So all beings are interconnected is an Eastern concept. Tea probably had more following in the old world of coming together, of saying we're all connected. We don't differentiate. Where coffee has more of a Western tendency of body and spirit being separate. So if we look internally, we think it's all connected when we're from a tea perspective. From a coffee perspective, we think about, what's our mind, what's our heart, what's our body, all these things, what's my leg.
Maybe that's why I like both.
And we also look at it individually of me versus you versus us, I think, one could extract from the tea perspective, from Eastern concept. So, okay, here's an exercise. I did this earlier, right? Take a sip. What do you perceive? We were talking about time then, but what do you take another drink.
Oh man, time just stood still again.
Yeah, but what did you perceive? What did you taste? What did you taste?
Well, for me, it's nice and creamy.
Yeah,
Yes. Sweet.
but there's a reason why you're putting cream in, right?
There's a note of bitterness that the sweetened cream
right
kind of overcomes a bit.
All right. So here's the second one. Here's the second half of this. Hold your nose and drink. Just take a small sip, okay, so you don't choke. And if you're driving, don't do this.
Okay.
Because you need to be able to keep your hands on the wheel.
Okay, that was more interesting than I thought it was going to be.
Did you notice the taste go down?
Incredibly so.
Yeah, it was
Mm-hmm.
just a faint hint. And what happens? Well, this is what happens. Coffee's taste is actually a smell. So we are fooled by the aroma of coffee that we think it sits on our tongue, and that oil that I was talking about, that small little 0.5% of a bean, is providing a bitter taste. And no, it's actually just a bitter smell. So that's really interesting. I didn't realize this, right? But it's we can be deceived at times in our own world because we're thinking of using one of our senses versus another,
Hmm.
and we get fooled which one is actually in play. And I thought this is a great life lesson. So next time, next time you're in a conversation, hold your nose. Okay.
Hmm.
And I found this is interesting. Dark Ages. Dark Ages were more favoring dark roast. I call them the Dark Ages, but before industrial produced coffee. So Maxwell House, Folgers.
Best part of waking up.
Yeah, there you go. Take care, Steve. So one of the aspects of this is we changed our approach. We move the the range from sour and more acidic to bitter to more acidic and aromatic. We move over time based on what we're being influenced by. So what's a coffee mindset? It transports us introspectively. So we get a sharper clarity about what we're thinking about because we're transported into the moment, and we can call on our what we're thinking, and we're more in tune with what we're thinking. So we bring that forward, and it brings a calmness that fosters this environment. It unleashes your creative power and widens the door to open-mindedness and tolerance. So I think these are the three keys that it transports us inside. We get calm, we get more clarity, we think more effectively because we're now shutting out the outside, and we're not relying on the taste, but we're relying on the smell. We're relying on a different sense to take us in, and block out some of the things that might be distracting us. So we can get more tap into our creative power. We have one of our programs talks about the creative power of us, of the I am, and then we have this open mindedness and tolerance, which is a couple of these are keys to crayon leadership and why crayon leadership is what it is. Uh, so we are cups constantly and quietly being filled. I love this perspective, this image that's going to hold in your mind. We are cups constantly and quietly being filled. Trick is knowing how to tip ourselves over and let the beautiful stuff out.
I like that quote, but it makes me think of a teapot.
So, do you want a cheat sheet? Do you want this mindset cheat sheet?
Yes, let's get it quick.
Let's get it. Okay, we'll go quick. Get help.
You need help.
If you're drinking 40 to 50 cups of coffee or pouring in a large amount of sugar in your cup, get some help. We are not professionals in being able to help you with your addiction. Seriously?
Okay.
But
keep going.
So coffee, the coffee mindset brings relaxation, not necessarily drink I'm talking, but recreating this experience on a daily habit creates relaxation. We all could use some of that, especially after watching endless Zoom conferences, right?
Yeah.
Or teaching across them. Mindfulness, it brings forward mindfulness. It brings an empowered life because we're now deeper thinking. We're tolerant. We're more open minded. It gets us thinking into. It's a thinking. Wow, blinky lights. It's a thinking. There's triggers that help us. The smell help us take us and transport us. So It's important. Take baby steps if you're just starting a coffee habit, or this mindset of applying this mindset, because it takes time, it takes practice.
Well, I think so. Really, I think what the point is we want to get to these things, right?
Right.
We don't necessarily have to be drinking coffee, but we want to find a way to transport ourselves to a place where we can relax so that we're more mindful in order to live this empowered life and think deeper into how to become more of who we have been designed to become, right?
And being open to really taking that to a conversation, a dialogue with others.
And then we're open to triggers for opportunities
Yeah.
that lead us to greater success and that propels us into action.
Yes.
Oh,
Nice. Are you ready for the quantum leap?
please.
Okay, here's the quantum leap. This is, you got those 7. Here's the one that puts you right over the top. Fill the cup. I like this final thought here. Coffee, creative lighter fluid.
Because it propels us forward because of those things that we mentioned
It's a
at the
spark.
last time. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
All right. There we go.
Well, Joe, that was an interesting program. So,
well, you'll never look at coffee again the same way.
Well, that's true. That's true. And I hope that we're able to enjoy a cup of coffee with you someday. And
hello, Art.
Hey, Art.
Everybody, yeah, share this out. The contest goes on, at least for a little while. Share it out. Write a comment. Give us your thought. What's in your cup? Do you feel a difference when you drink, coffee or whatever is your favorite beverage? Well, what do you do? What does it transform in your life at that moment?
So when do you think that we should draw for the cup?
By noon.
Noon, or should we give them a chance? Like for people who 24? Might be working right now, let's do it tomorrow.
Okay, we'll do it tomorrow.
So we'll announce tomorrow who is the winner of the Starbucks
8 o'clock a.m. Eastern.
Okay, deal. So about 24 hours, just a little bit less, and then it'll be, especially the more you're commenting and stuff, the more you're going to be entered into that drawing. So we'll look for that opportunity for you to win, and we'll look for your shares, which adds more opportunities for you to get your name in there.
And help someone that might be feeling that they're stuck and they need something. They need a coffee mindset. They don't need the coffee maybe because they're already maybe taking too much. They're guzzling it.
But it's our job to help people, move forward, and in doing so, then we get to move forward too. It's
awesome.
It is.
That's all. Yeah.
Well, thanks you, Joe.
Thanks, Lisa. Thanks for sharing a cup.
Cheers, mate.
Take care now.
You guys have a great weekend.
All right. See you later. Bye.